Hey guys, it's Emma back for another book review, and Buddy, my sidekick, he also reviews books too. He's sleeping right now though, so shh. Today, I finally will review one of my favorites in the Cassandra Clare series. Yay! Alright, you know what it is? Can you guess? What have I left out so far? These, the Dark Artifices. I may be biased because the main character shares my name, Emma, and she is also the biggest boss I've ever seen of all the girls that I've read in literature. Plus, these books are fat. Like, let me just check. They're 700-ish pages, and I love a book that takes me more than 2 days to read because I read like 7 hours a day when I'm really into it. This is a review of if you should or should not read the Dark Artifice series, and I'm gonna say it right now, you should, but this will also be spoiler free or just very, very light spoilers, so go ahead and watch the full video and nothing will be spoiled for you because I want you to read these. I think these are the books that Cassie finally got the number of narrators that we want to follow right. So it really follows Emma, Carstairs, and then the Blackthorn family, which is a big family with a lot of different people in it. Okay, it's not that many people, but Julian is the head of the household and also Emma's parabatai, and he has to take care of Ty, Livy, Drew, and Tavi as kind of the father figure in the series. This is one of the first times in a series where we get to see and feel this heavy burden on one of the characters, but it can be a burden and a blessing at the same time. Julian is very young, and he has to take care of this big family, and it is a lot of pressure on him. Luckily, he has Emma with him to help a little bit, but he cares about his family more than anything else in the world, and he would do anything for them, and that's just a big plus for this series because you can relate to this, you can feel this, and you can love this character because of what he gives up and how much he sacrifices and cares for his family. It's a truly heroic trait. It's also great on the battlefield, which is a plus, but just having this trait of family and love is so much stronger than anything else we've ever felt before, and it can really connect you to this character, Julian Blackthorn. So, Emma Carstairs, right here, she is the best. Yes, she has the best name ever because it's Emma, but she is this strong, hot-headed, crazy girl that has so much power at her fingertips, and it's not natural. She works so hard to get where she is. She can hold her end of the bargain of always keeping Julian safe so he can keep his family safe. And I adore her because she is hilarious. She tries to make friends with everyone, and she does not, tell lies for no reason. She is brutally honest. You can't tell Emma no. You could tell her that it was impossible to jump over that huge wall, and she will run and try and jump over it, and probably succeed because she is one of the strongest shadow hunters that we even know. And she doesn't even have extra power like some of the other characters in the Mortal Instrument. So this story takes place in LA, and I love how Cassie switches institutes for each series. I love LA, I've never been there. Okay, I love the idea of California and all that, and it really fits well with these characters because beach, sunshine, going outside, warm weather, it kind of envelops the vibe of the characters, where the series really plays well with the setting and the background, especially because we already know so much about all of the characters from the past books. Now, Emma and Julian actually debut in the end of the Mortal Instruments, and not in this series, because we get to see them in the Dark War, which is a very, it's implied, it's a really dark war and a really dark time for them. You get to find out a lot more about them, so I would say it would be good to read the entire Mortal Instruments so you get a view on why these characters are like this, and you get to see the inside of their minds. If you read it alone, it would be fine, but again, if you want more insight on your characters, I would say you need to read the last book of the Mortal Instruments to actually see what they've gone through and what their struggles are. Being that this series is only 3 books, you do have a lot of room, because they're so big, for a lot of different villains and people to come out. So the first book, they're worried about one person. The next book, they're worried about a person that brought another person up. And in the last book, it's just a big mess with government, and it's actually really interesting because it kind of relates to America and our situation here with our current president. There's a lot of distrust and a lot of bigotry going around, and that comes out in A Queen of Air and Darkness. And it made me laugh actually a lot because of all the parallels that were drawn to our government, well, my government at the US. Cassie is so good at drawing these connections to our world with this world. It makes you feel like maybe they can coincide and be the same thing, which I really enjoy. Her world building is beautiful, especially throughout this series, and how much she connects it to our own time period. These take place, the Dark Artifices take place in more of my generation, which is nice because I'm a 2001 baby. Like, I grew up on a phone, I grew up with these TV shows. Traditionally, with the Shadowhunters, they're not allowed to do a lot of mortal things, but in the Dark Artifices, you actually see Emma, Jillian, and Drew, especially with Ty. They all love mortal things, mortal movies, horror movies, Sherlock Holmes, and it can connect you to one of the characters and really make you enjoy the series even more. Jillian, here he is. He does a lot for his family. He gives up so much, and that really debuts later in the series, and you see how it makes him a stronger and weaker person at the same time. Him and Emma are tied together with the parabatai ceremony, and they really complement each other perfectly well, and that's what I enjoyed the most out of the series. Whatever Emma needs, the cool-headed, the calm, the respect, someone there to tell her what she needs and what she should do, is Jillian. And Jillian needs that hot-headed warrior that's ready to go in for a fight at any time, and that will protect him no matter what. They complement each other so well, they grow together, and they face challenges maybe apart, but they grow together, and they figure it out together always. I said together like 80 times right there, but you'll see what I mean, because I don't think there's like more than 10 pages where Emma and Jillian are not together. They are a great dynamic. And there's a lot of jokes made about these books. It's pretty obvious that Emma and Jillian are really into each other just after like 10 pages of Lady Midnight, and that becomes a problem. And if you are into some rebels like Emma, you're gonna see and you're gonna love the final book, The Queen of Air and Darkness. Now, this series actually has a lot more heart-wrenching scenes than some of the other ones. Like I said, there's a big family, and the family does get smaller, and it gets really hard for some people, and Jillian, of course, taking care of everyone, already has so much grief and so much he's missing out on. He wants to make sure that all the kids are taken care of. Cassie is not afraid to kill characters, and she's not afraid to break apart your heart, throw all the pieces around, and then slowly let you pick them up and find out that maybe it'll be all okay. There are some big consequences in this book that we're going to actually explore more in The Wicked Powers. I hope that comes out soon enough because I'm dying for it. But I know it's a couple years past. But Queen of Air and Darkness has some consequences that come out, and I know a lot of writers struggle with making their consequences permanent. But I think that Cassie has a big opportunity to do that, and so far, it's on track. These books probably have the least amount of LGBT involved in them. We get to see Kit and Ty with some innocent, maybe crushing, but there really isn't that much more. And there is actually a quite surprising relationship turnout, which Cassie I applaud for, because a lot of people are not very accepting of it, but there are three characters that get along extremely well, and Mark and Kyrian, they've been in the Mortal Instruments having a romance there because they were on the Wild Hunt. They also have a third person, and it's a love triangle for sure, but then it actually resolves itself and becomes actual true love where people can accept and express each other in any way they want. Cassie, I applaud you for being able to really show us that people can love whoever they want, and not it doesn't matter what other people think. It just matters what you think and who you care about, because the people that you care about will accept you and they will love you no matter what. If you need to spend a long week reading, pick these up. Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, The Queen of Air and Darkness. They exploit a lot of different problems. Family problems, government problems, the love, and I think this series envelops the most out of all of Cassie's so far, because we have to deal with a huge array of characters. We get to see Kit's point of view, we get to see Ty, Drew, Tavi, not really, he's too young, Julian, Emma, and Mark, Kyrian, all of those characters, Christina even, and that's more people that we've ever focused on in any of her series, and they all have their own struggles, and we get to overcome them together. So that's why I believe this is the best Cassandra Clare trilogy so far, because she envelops so many people and so many emotions in their stages of life. Anyone can connect themselves to a single character. I connect myself mostly to Emma, but also to Jillian, because I feel like I usually have to take care of people and put all my effort into it, and sometimes it pays off and sometimes it doesn't, and it's really difficult for me or for someone else to be let down when I really just want to help them the most. For Emma, I'm really trying to be this strong, independent woman that doesn't need to depend on others and protects people with their life. That I really believe so strongly in, and every other character has a couple traits that I really adore and really love. And I feel like these are the books where we get to see each person grow, especially because all the kids are getting older and they're figuring out their personalities, they're figuring out their sexuality, they're figuring out what they want to do with their life, and if they want to be with their family forever or separate a little bit and figure things out. All of these internal conflicts also come together and create a couple external ones as well. We get to deal with a new villain in pretty much each book, and a lot of these we can also relate to our own life. Like I said, the government really comes into here, the Shadowhunter government. You get to see the struggles of the Shadowhunters and their government failing and doing something that it shouldn't be doing, which is super interesting because we've always seen the Clave as this super strict, hardcore government reigning over the Shadowhunters, and now it's turning into something more sinister, which is very intriguing for Cassie to do, especially with the Wicked Powers coming in 3 years. If you love character growth, if you love expansive conflicts and many different groups of people figuring out themselves, what they should do and how they should solve their own life, I would recommend very highly the Dark Artifice series by Cassandra Clare, because it envelops so much and you can always find some character or something to relate to in this series, especially since it connects so well to the mortal world. So I'm going to give a rating to each of the books. Tell me if you like this. I'm going to give a rating to each one of my books. Tell me what you thought of them. Tell me if you agree, disagree. And if you decide to pick up the Dark Artifice series, tell me what you think of Cassie's writing and if I did the review justice. So here we go. Here is Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, and Queen of Air and Darkness. I hope you enjoyed this review. See ya!